The BBC News at 5 is an hour-long daily news program broadcast at 5 p.m. on BBC News. The program is fronted by Huw Edwards, the BBC's lead presenter for major breaking news, and James Hill on Friday. The show includes a detailed look at the news, as well as analysis with guests and sport and weather updates. Unlike most other BBC News Channel bulletins, the BBC News at 5 is presented from Studio C, which is usually the main studio for BBC World News. During weekends and bank holidays, BBC News at 5 resembles an unbranded BBC News Channel bulletin, usually lasting for 30 minutes. As the main evening news on Saturday is normally at 17:30, when the main news isn't, the back half hour is filled with a sports bulletin and the film review. It presented from the news channel's main studio, Studio E. The program started on April 3, 2006 as part of the BBC's relaunch of BBC News Presenters, which saw the introduction of the new flagship program to compete against Jeremy Thompson's Live at 5 program on rival channel Sky News, and to improve BBC News ratings for the hour. As part of the 2008 revamp of the entire news output, the show moved studios within BBC Television Centre along with BBC News and the BBC News at 1 and BBC News at 10 bulletins. The show originally broadcast from Studio N8 but moved to Studio N6. On March 18, 2013, the program moved to Broadcasting House along with BBC News and the BBC One bulletins. On November 4, 2013, the BBC News at 5 received new opening titles featuring the hour of broadcast. On March 13, 2020, the last BBC News at 5 was broadcast until further notice in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. The UK government's daily press conference on the pandemic was broadcast in place of BBC News at 5 on BBC One and the BBC News Channel. As well as presenting from the studio, the main presenters are called upon to present on location when major stories break. For example, Huw Edwards presented live from the BBC's Washington studio for the 2008, 2012, and 2016 U.S. presidential elections and has presented live from Basra from the withdrawal ceremony. George Alajaya presented from L'Aquila in April 2009 and Haiti in January 2010 when earthquakes struck the countries. During the 2015 election campaign, Edwards presented from across the UK, while Gavin Esseler was based in Edinburgh and Clyde Myrie served as the London presenter. If there is no position before the years of being a presenter, then this newsreader was either a relief presenter or occasional guest stand-in presenter. Gavin Esseler, deputy presenter, 2006 to 2017. Peter Sissons, 2006 to 2009. Emily Maitlis, 2007 to 2016. Louise Minchin, 2007 to 2011. Nicholas Owen, 2008 to 2017. Tim Wilcox, 2008 to 2015. Joanna Gosling, 2009 to 2010. John Sokol, 2009 to 2012. Zainab Badawi, 2011. Sophie Long, 2011 to 2012. Anita McVeigh, 2013 to 2017. Matthew Price, 2015. Maxine Melanie, 2015 to 2016. Simon McCoy, 2015 to 2017. Generally, the program follows a standard format as follows: 1700 hours, headlines. 1700 hours to 1715, stories. 1715, headlines. 1715 to 1725, interview, in-depth analysis. 1725 to 1730, weather. 1730, headlines. 1730 to 1745, stories with sports roundup, except on Friday. 1745, headlines, except on Friday for a look ahead to Sports Day. 1745 to 1755, interview, in-depth analysis, except on Friday for the film review. 1755 to 1800 hours, weather. The weather updates are generally presented from the screen away from the main desk. Sports updates are presented from the BBC Sports Centre at Media City, UK, Salford. The film review appears during the programme on Fridays between 1745 and 1800 hours, and is presented by the anchor and a film critic, usually Mark Kermode, from the main desk. However, the background and lighting changes to resemble a cinema effect. It features reviews of all the week's main releases,